Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming tonight to the Knowing You show. This is one of my many interviews that I have been doing with my empathic community so that we can learn and grow and connect and experience one another's. As empaths, we're feelers, so we feel a lot of stuff. And especially with the things that have been happening in the world today, with the protests, with the riots, with the Black Lives Matter movement and civil rights movement. And I know it's been on our hearts and minds for many of us. And so I am really excited to bring a beautiful, heart-centered coach and healer that I like, Naheema, to the show. And thank you, Lisa, if you're listening, for introducing us, because I really dig her. So, yeah,
thank you.
This is going to be not just me interviewing her. We're actually going to be talking and kind of even interviewing each other and just being warm and friendly and loving, because we want to set the stage for the community discussion and healing that's going to happen on Monday night to help bring greater awareness and discussion to the whole topic of seeing one another, no matter what our race or gender or social status may be, and really just loving each other, seeing the humanity, seeing God within one another. And I wanted Naheema to be a part of that discussion with us, and she's going to co-lead it on Monday. So just as an FYI, I'm going to lead a group prayer. I'm going to do a healing, a mini healing. Naheema and I are going to set the boundaries and the guidelines to get a really safe, warm, friendly, open space for everyone to share from their hearts. Then we'll do a community discussion. And then in the last half hour, I'm going to do a healing. So whatever came up, we're going to do healing to help clear the space for one another. So Naheema, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you?
Absolutely. So, hi, everybody. It's just so wonderful to be here with all of you. And thank you so much, Tiffany. Thank you, Lisa, for the warm introduction to us, to Tiffany, that is. And honestly, it's just such a blessing to be here and just have the opportunity to just share with your audience. Like Tiffany said, I am a mindset and accountability coach, supporting Black women to trust in themselves, to align with their truth, their God divine truth, to step into their purpose. And my work that I do is that heart-centered work, because transformation is an inside-out journey. And oftentimes we have to move and filter through I call it the emotional, right, and mindset clutter, and move those pieces out of the closet that no longer serve us and be able to let them go in order for us to really step fully into who we are meant to be and where it is that we're meant to go. So that is my journey. In addition to that, I have a background in restorative justice. So I love to be able to incorporate that into my coaching and providing that safe space for my clients when dealing with those emotions. In addition, I'm also a certified mediator. So it's like almost having like that mediation right with ourselves. Is how do I move through that conversation with myself when I'm I am the one telling myself that I can't do it. And so we
That's
lovingly guide you through
beautiful.
that.
Yeah. Naheema, I'm wondering if it might be possible. Can you remove your glasses? There's such a glare,
Oh,
we can't actually see your beautiful face. And I would love to see you.
yes. Is that good?
That's better. Yeah. Yeah. There's
Oh,
nothing for you to read right now. So, that
good.
actually helps us to see you more. And for folks who want to make comments, you can post a comment. You'll need to give permission if you're in Facebook and StreamYard to post it. And we'd love to, hear your comments if you have any along the way.
Absolutely.
And to give you a little background about me for those who are still new to my work, I have been a healer and a clairvoyant since I was a small kid. I've actually been getting paid for healing since I was 8 years old. I got $1 for 10 minutes starting at 8. And I love working with empaths, sensitive, intuitive, spiritual souls to help you see and heal your blind spots, healing the subconscious deep core wounds, especially to me the most common core wounds are not feeling seen, loved,
Yep.
heard, safe, understood, or that you belong. Okay,
Yep.
so those are my core wounds. Now, I'm also, gifted to do physical healing and other kinds of emotional healing as well, but I really love doing that deep core work and look lovingly guiding people to go within to their shadow and heal those wounds that are not yet healed. And so that's the space that I'm going to bring to our discussions. And Naheema's got her great coaching and wisdom and being able to also intuitively sense things, the unspoken things that we're not saying. And so just from my initial conversations with her, I think this will be a really fun partnership for us both.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Naheema, can you tell us a little bit about your why? Like, why do you do what you do? And what do you love about it?
What's so interesting is that I came about to this why when my brother committed suicide. And at the time, I didn't even know that this was my why, that this work was my why, but it emerged out of pain, and I was able to find my purpose. And so that is why this work is so important to me, because it is like you, it is imperative for me to let anybody who comes through my path know that they are loved, seen, and valued, and that they have purpose, and that their purpose is so great and abundant. And even if they can't see it right now, that's where I come in to help them.
Beautiful. Do you think, first off, I'm so sorry to hear about your brother. That's awful. And I'm wondering, do you think if he had healed those wounds so that he could feel loved and seen and heard, that maybe that would have stopped him from committing suicide?
I couldn't say, because I don't know. I don't know. Everybody makes their own decision, and I don't know. I mean, of course, I wish that it wouldn't have, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think these wounds are deep for a lot of people for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a driving factor. These wounds can motivate us to move towards something or to jet the other way. It's so for me, my wound of not being understood, growing up with my
Yeah.
empath, intuitive, healing, clairvoyant skills, not being understood led me to want to educate and help people to understand themselves, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And responding back to that question, even though I don't know the answer, I would like to believe that would be the case, because that is my driving force
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
do the work that I do. And like you, to make sure, everybody is seen, heard, and valued and appreciated, and spread that love of God to where when we see each other, we're not just seeing another person, but we're seeing God, not just in ourselves, but in the other people around us. And that is truly my desire and goal, in working with my clients, and just in my purpose in itself, is that we can all come to a place where we truly see God in each other.
Mm. You are speaking my
Yeah.
language. This is why you and I click.
I love it. I
uh,
love it. I love it. I
that
love it.
it's the
Yes.
beginning of almost every workshop, like weekend workshop and spiritual retreat I do, is like doing exercises so that we can see the divinity within one another. And Amelia
Yes. Because it's so
says,
beautiful. And when we do,
yeah,
we realize like we have something miraculous.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. Amelia said she loves seeing God in each other. So that's so great. Thanks for
Mm.
coming and joining us tonight.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so
Hi, Amelia. Thank you.
speaking our language too. Yes. That's what we
Love
like
it.
to hear. And and can you talk to me about the other kinds of wounds that you and I were, going back with over the phone earlier, about how we're not, how there's judgment, how there's criticism, how we're not seen, how we're not loved, how we're not understood, and
Yes.
how that affects our life, and how that affects our ability
Yeah.
to see each other as spirit, as God, as humanity. Would you like
Absolutely. Well, one
to?
thing for sure is that there is no fear in love. Love cannot live in fear, and fear cannot live in love. And, as I years ago was pondering, like, what are those things? Hi, Amelia. What are those things? What is that one thing that we can pinpoint that gets in the way of us actually loving? And it's judgment. And
Mhm.
it's judgment high, it's judgment of ourselves, and it's judgment of others. Because if we are able to take judgment out of the equation, what we're left with is love. And
Mm.
I think honestly, like, even to just pose this to our viewers right now, is if you look at in situations in your life where you judged either yourself or someone else, was there love in that? And if you took that judgment out and replaced it with love, how easy that exchange would have been. So
Mhm.
that is, for me, especially with my clients, is helping them get to a place where they're not judging themselves. Because oftentimes we just judge ourselves so much with self-doubt, with the self-criticism, and instead replacing that with the love and the truths of who we are in the Word of God. Appreciate you, Amelia. Yes.
Yes, these are
Yes, but
definitely,
it's so true. It's so true that if we can
yeah.
just that focus, right? Just shift our focus, that little switch to shift our focus to not put our eyes and our eyesight on the judgment, on the self-criticism, but to truly focus on the truth. Because the truth is that we are all miracles in action, living, breathing on this earth. So if we can see ourselves as a miracle and accept that as our truth, we would treat each other differently, and we would certainly treat other people differently. We would treat others, our community, our brothers and sisters differently. So yeah, that's certainly just how I try to guide my work.
I 100% agree. There, one of my common sayings is, okay, empty out, release anything that isn't love.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And when we empty out, it empties out those old wounds too. We don't have some wounds, we might actually need to see it and acknowledge it to release it. And others, we just have to be willing to let go of anything that isn't love. And that is enough.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. I agree, because those things that we're holding on to are not things that are serving us anyway. They're not serving us to be the highest version of ourselves. And they're not serving us to walk in that, step into that person.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's what I'm really excited about doing with you even more on Monday, is just to help and support and guide your viewers and your audience to getting to that place where love dominates, and being able to see where judgment has existed, where even that self-doubt within yourself has existed, right? Or that criticism has existed, whether it's internal or external. And to be able to start the process, or at least ignite that process of, one, awareness, and two, of healing those wounds, and three, of deciding to replace it, right?
Yeah.
Replace it. What are we replacing it with? And being intentional about that, and knowing, who, based on who we are and how we show up, is we're going to guide you to replace it with love. So I'm excited for Monday. It's going to be great.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I put in the chat. Did it come through? I was trying to put in the chat the where to RSVP.
Okay.
So that if you're not yet RSVP'd for Monday, you can do so at my website at highlyperceptivepeopleacademy.com. And then it's under freebies, and then just go to Healing Racism. And we would love to have your heart, your mind, your contribution, because it's such a big topic, multi-layered, multifaceted topic. And we can each do our individual part to see God in one another, but we need to be that invitation at a much bigger global level. And that includes having you participate in that.
Yeah, absolutely. As the saying goes, we're better together. And we are.
Yes.
There is power in numbers.
That's right. That is so right.
Yes.
And what else would be important for us to say to just make a warm, held, loving space for anybody who wants to engage with us in the discussion on Monday and the healing to help end racism? What else can you think about that would be that invitation for them?
I would say my invitation is to come with an open heart. With open heart, ready to, one, embrace yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, transformation is an
Mm-hmm.
inside-out journey. And we must first look at ourselves, do the work in ourselves. I always say, in leadership, right? You cannot lead others until you've taken the time to lead yourself and you become the leader of you. So as we take this time to examine ourselves, to look at, how am I being the leader of me? Knowing that if there's people around me who are being influenced, right, and shaped by what it is that I do, by my very existence, what is that model that I want to be and show up in the world for that person watching? So my invitation is simply to come open and come ready to decide what type of leader you want to be in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to come open, ready to embrace you.
I love it. I love it. And when we come from that space, there's nothing to fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to call it out, because I have had people say, I would love to learn more about the civil rights movement. I would love to learn more about how to end prejudice and end racism, and I don't know where to start. Or another version of that is, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to engage in the conversation because I don't know what to say. I'm afraid of pissing people off because I say it wrong. And so out of fear, they paralyze themselves, and they, like, I mean, this is what some of my clients and students have approached me with, saying, I love what you're doing. I think it's great. It's a huge topic. I commend you for doing it, but I don't know if I could handle the energy of it. I don't know if I can say things in a PC way that's not going to upset anybody. And my comment to anyone who has those kinds of concerns is, if you come from love, that is exactly the right place to be. You don't have to be perfect. We can see your heart. We can feel your heart. You don't have to say things right. I don't always say things right. I'm always willing to clean it up when I don't. And we're setting the container and the guidelines to make it that held space, so that we can just be authentic. And you don't have to be perfect when you say it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with that. And again, I feel like more than anything, it's a matter of, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Because either you're going to choose to be that person who is not going to push themselves, right, to step into their own humanity, or choose to be that person who's going to step into their humanity, who's going to elevate themselves to that next level of love, because they know it's worth the journey.
Yeah.
So I would say, in anything in life, as you know, the decision is always yours.
Yes.
And my goal for myself, individual, is to continually be learning and growing and evolving and becoming, because it's a journey and it's a process. And does that mean that in some areas I fall forward? Absolutely. Does it mean in some areas of life, it may be a struggle. Yes. But does it mean that I get up? Absolutely. Does it mean that I stop? Nope, sure don't. I keep going. I keep going.
Yes. Rock on, sister. Keep going. I can't that's such a motto for life. Not only, this kind of a subject matter, but in life. And I think it would also be important for us to speak to the concern about not being able to handle like the heaviness of the topic, like the sadness, the grief, the anger, the hopelessness that many people who I've talked to, whether they're African American, whether they're white, Asian, like I've talked to multiple people about this subject, and that has been, a concern. Like if they let themselves feel or become aware of the heaviness, how can they be with that? And I think for me, I'll speak for me, and then I'd love to hear from you. For me, if you're coming from that heart-centered space and also energetically allowing yourself to have appropriate space and boundaries, you won't be a sponge, negatively soaking up, everything that's there. And also, just by speaking those wounds out, sometimes that in of itself is the healing that is needed. Also, listening can be so healing for the other person. And even if we just like shave away like a few layers of heaviness, that is a few pounds less in the world, and it can actually ripple out and make a great difference. What do you think?
I completely agree with you. I mean, I obviously, with the name of my business, Story Inside You, I believe that our stories are so important, and our stories are a pathway to freedom. And how if we give our stories the opportunity to actually give it that voice, we give it power, we give ourselves power, right? And in addition to that, like one of the things that I teach is that you cannot heal what you choose not to feel. And that's just life. That's in life, whether it's this topic or anything else. If we don't take the time to feel it and allow it to move through us, allow ourselves to cry, allow ourselves to grieve, allow ourselves to be in that pain and know it's not comfortable, know it doesn't feel good, but it is required for change. Because if you want to change, you will need to feel it. So that is, I'll read Amelia's comment. She says, we need more people to feel it. We need support carrying the burden. That's what helps us feel seen. To avoid the topic for the reason of avoiding discomfort is hurtful. Amelia, I completely agree. I completely agree. And feel to heal. I completely agree, Amelia. Yes, we must feel it.
And
we must feel it.
And
we must feel it. And I cannot emphasize that enough. We must feel it.
And we can also feel it in homeopathic doses. And that is healing. It doesn't have to be like feeling the entire weight of the world all at once and let it swallow you up. But
consume you.
Right. We can feel it in the homeopathic small amount. And that can be extremely healing. So anybody who's afraid of being overwhelmed by feeling it, let yourself feel just the homeopathic dose. And we will not be coaching you during the discussion. But if you
Right.
are triggered, if you do need some sort of help or assistance, you can ask. And
Yeah.
we'll jump in and we'll be there, lifeguards on duty. But we're not just going to like shove coaching down your throat. You've got to ask for that and then be open and receptive. So if whether it's you're feeling it and you're like, oh
Yes.
crap, I don't know what to do with it now. We can help you with that.
Yeah.
If you ask.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. And again, know that if anything, it's a process and it's a journey, but it's a journey that you get to decide whether or not you're going to start. And again, I want to couple that back to deciding who it is that you want to show up as in this earth, on this earth. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who says, nope, I'm not even going to go there because it's too much and it's too overwhelming, and not push yourself to become and really align with the fullness of who you are in God? Because the fullness of who you are is that person that just envelops love in every area of their life. So I am going to say, I'm going to challenge you to just show up, and be open.
And
so what are your thoughts on that, Tiffany?
Yeah, and invite other people to the conversation
Yes.
that come from a similar heart space. Many hands will lighten the load.
Yes.
So here's again how
Absolutely.
you RSVP. So just go to my website, highlyperceptivepeopleacademy.com. /healing-racism-recording, or just go to the freebies tab and you'll find it, and you can RSVP and come and be held. Cry if you want to, laugh if you want to, scream if that's
right.
what's needed.
Yes.
This is just a safe space to be you.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And thank you, Tiffany, just to be supported and loved. And like Tiffany said, to be held. This is it's a journey for all of us. And it's beautiful that we can come together and go through this journey together.
Mm-hmm. And even though like my skin is white in this life, I remember at a cellular level what it's been like to experience prejudice. I remember what it feels like to be enslaved. I remember like past lives of great trauma and tragedy. I even remember like ancestral stuff passed down from generation to generation. So no matter what physical color of your skin may be, this could be healing for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was telling Naheema that last weekend, I spent the whole night dreaming I was healing family generational stuff connected to this whole topic. And it was pretty darn heavy, like pretty heavy stuff, but it's so freeing at the same time. Like every little bit that I could get lighter with it and empty more out and clear it out of me, clear it out of, the family legacies, so that we do not perpetuate the cycle ever again.
Yeah. I heard that. It's just not even an option. But you know what? And thank you for sharing that, because it just reminds me again to say and emphasize that the change starts with us. It starts with us right here, right now, doing the work. So again, we invite you to join us on Monday to start the change, to do the work, because we can do it. But it starts with us.
Thank you so much, Naheema.
Mm,
I look
no
forward to, partnering with you through this fun and deep and, multifaceted project and healing. So thank you again. And everyone, please RSVP and come and participate in the conversation. So the dates are July 13th, so Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and August 20th, which is Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, so we'll see how those go, and then we'll likely schedule some more. So come and play with us.
Yeah, and just know that you're loved. That's right. Yes, and thank you, Tiffany.
You're welcome. Signing off for now. See you on Monday.
See you then. Bye.